Hello, I'm Christopher Peel, pipe enthusiast, and in this second installment of my interview with Colin Rigsby, we discuss his collection and touch on the history of pipes and pipe smoking. So without further ado, enjoy. Well, I'll tell you what, let's talk about some of this stuff in the room here.
That's a great idea. Well, when you have a 7-year-old, you start thinking about the time when you were 7 years old. And so I've got to have my Wolfman and my Lego figures here. That's something my boy and I enjoy together. But something here that is really cool are these older tins like these that were from the turn of the century. And again, these are items that reflect a lot of nostalgia, but also tell about where the pipe smokers have been and where they're going. Some of the older tins up here, and we all know Squadron Leader. I mean, that's one that's still around. There's Winston taking a dump.
Look at this looks like Grandpa Munster.
Who?
This guy here. This last one.
This one?
Yeah.
This can. Isn't this interesting? I think this is probably a can from Germany. It's got Hamburg on the end of it. But isn't this a cool photo of the lithograph here of the guy smoking his pipe, you know?
Again, it just goes into the artwork.
I found that one out in the middle of Texas, out in the hill country of all places.
So where have you acquired most of this?
Everywhere and everywhere.
Any place you can think of, huh?
Yeah, just, gosh, you know, the usual sources, antique stores, eBay, other people's collections, you name it, garage sales, everywhere. You know, anytime I see something that looks interesting, any kind of shop or, you know, garage sale, estate sale, antique show, whatever. Because my wife and I like a lot of different stuff. And her collecting is a lot more limited than mine in a sense that she's more into advertising but other things. And she actually helps me pick out a lot of this stuff. You know, she finds some of this stuff and I've gotten some of it as gifts from various people, including my wife. Yeah, it all kind of goes together. I have a collection of Astley's pipes. All of the pipes here in this rack are all from the Astley shop. It doesn't exist anymore. I've got this 30s era Astley's catalog, which is kind of interesting because of its size. It's got a few little illustrations in it, a few photographs. It's kind of interesting. You know, to me, the Astley shop, I never got to go there, unfortunately, but the Astley shop would have been the ultimate pipe shop. You think about everything what we used to think about as British elegance, where you go in a place and you're treated like royalty, even if you're not, and you sit down and you choose a pipe from a selection, and the gentleman behind the counter knows everything there is to know about them and gives you that personal service and the respect that you should have as a customer in a place like that. Just screams everything pipe to me. So when I discovered the Astley story and the history of the Astley's pipes and so forth, and how they were actually made by several other pipe maker companies, individuals, etc., and stamped with the Astley's nomenclature, I just thought that was so interesting. And so over the years I picked up a few from other collectors and places, and it's fun to pick out who made what. I've got a couple of Astley's that were made obviously by Dunhill, or people that worked from Dunhill. There were some that were made by Upshaw, others. There's even a Prebenhome Astley's that's kind of interesting. So all of that just kind of goes to telling the whole story of the Astley's shop. It was one shop in one location, so it's pretty interesting how it had that big of an impact on the history of pipes and tobaccos as a whole.
So it wasn't a chain, or?
No, it was just a one-off store. And
where was it located?
Well, it was on Jermyn Street, which is a high-end part of London there. I've never been there, but my understanding is that it catered to a lot of the handmade type items that the English are known for, whether it be suits and clothing and different things. And I think it was in the same neighborhood as some of the other pipe companies. There are a lot of guys out there that would know more about that than me that actually got to go there and see it. Unfortunately, I didn't make it.
Again, this is more just kind of goes into the whole nostalgic Americana. Go back into that history.
Well, you know, the American advertising machine of even the 20s through the 40s and 50s is interesting in the sense that, you know, Americans have always been capitalists. And so their advertising used to be very personable and had a certain flair about it. And what I really enjoy is stuff from the 40s, 30s that just has such a cool flair about it. You know, look at the couple up there discussing the Granger tobacco, which we all know was pretty bad. But, you know, back then it was the king pretty much, I suppose, that and Prince Albert. And look at the advertising that they produced for that stuff. It was great, man. And, you know, my father gave me this sign and said that when he found it, it reminded him of his father and his mother. And I can definitely see, having photographs of them back in that era, they did look a lot like that. Her hair was that style sometimes. My grandfather was a handsome guy, just like that guy is. Always wore suits and stuff, especially in that era. And, you know, so yeah, I can definitely see the connection there with that.
Okay, what do we got here?
Well, these three pipes right here are unsmoked, well over a century old, and they were made in France. I picked these up at the Chicago Pipe Show from the Genade Company, and he was telling me that they found these in their back stock. This one, all piece of Allbriar, and looks a lot like the pipe that was featured in the Kevin Costner remake of, or the make of the Hatfields and McCoys, and I'm stumbling around. The Hatfields and McCoy pipe here that Kevin Costner had in that movie, that miniseries. This is very similar to it, but it's, you know, from that era actually, so that's kind of interesting. It's all wire. You know, look at these shanks that they turned on these pipes. It's just amazing how thin they were and how elegant they are. This is some of the things that kind of influenced me, not necessarily to copy, but just to show the elegance of simple things like that. Just really mean a lot to me as far as the pipe design goes.
What's that above there?
The Freeburg and Trier shop was another shop there in England. They specialized mostly in snuff, but they were also known for their pipes and their tobaccos, and actually you can still buy the branded Freeburg and Trier pipe tobaccos, which some of them are quite good actually, and they were based out of this shop that was located in Haymarket in London. And I was fortunate enough to find this pipe complete with bag and the original paper wrapper that they wrapped the box in. You know, talk about class and retail. Back when they wrapped everything when you left the store, well, the printed wrapping paper is so cool, and the little display that came from the shop. So just neat stuff. I just love the history there.
Yeah. Wellington?
That's actually an unsmoked Wellington. Wellingtons are fairly common, and a lot of people look down on them. And, you know, they were machine-made, very pedestrian-type pipes. But this one's unsmoked. Came with the original Art Deco box. And I found the original clipping from the sales catalog that the distributor would have had for the retail shops. And there's that very pipe. So it's just kind of cool as a display item.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's unsmoked and that old is just pretty cool. Along with that, I got a untapped can of Revelation that I got in the same lot. So somebody got a brand new pipe and a brand new can of Revelation, probably sometime in the 1930s, and never smoked it.